What's up? What's up? It's your boy CoreyB, and I want to ask you, why does everything need to be a national case? So what do I mean by that? It seems like there's always stuff going on, right? There's always crime going on. There's always tragedies happening. There's always things happening in the community around you, in the world around you. And the thing is when something happens in one place, people instantly rush to social media and they're like, why is this not national news? First of all, why should it be? Why should it be national news? Why should someone in Wyoming be concerned with a murder in Tallahassee? Why should someone in Jersey be concerned about a riot in California? Now, I can understand on some level, you're like, well, we need to know what's going on. Do we? Do we need to know what's going on? You need to know what's going on that's going to affect you. If there is, I literally had a conversation. I was having a conversation with my dad. And we were talking about football. It's playoff time. We were talking about football, and my dad he's a Cowboy fan. My dad's a diehard Cowboy fan, been a Cowboy fan his whole life. And I'm a Packers guy. Okay, but anyways, all that aside, the Eagles are a big rivalry of the Cowboys. And the Eagles are the ones who put my Packers out of the playoffs this year. And I was telling him how my buddy is from Philly. He's from Philly, and he grew up there. He lived there most of his life. And then he moved to Florida, and then he moved to Texas. And he had an interesting perspective as a diehard, lifelong Eagles fan. And a guy who is even dating a Eagles cheerleader for a couple of years. He had firsthand experience of a lot of Eagle fan mischief. And he said it's an interesting thing because the Giants and the Cowboys are their biggest rivals. And it's weird because whenever they have a home game in Philly, there is a looting and rioting. They will destroy crap. They're like the worst fans ever. They will destroy crap every single time. And then it does not matter. That's the interesting thing. It does not matter whether they win or lose. Because if they lose, they're angry and they're destroying the opposing team's vehicles, things like that. They're rioting and looting in the streets. Now, if they win, then they are rioting and looting out of jubilation. They are so excited. They are just, let's celebrate. Let's destroy the city. There's something wrong with these guys. Now, my dad, being a lifelong Cowboys fan, had no idea of this. He had no idea of the looting and rioting that was going on in Philly every single football season. Why does he need to know? Why does he need to know? Now, I just talked to him because we was just making conversation, and I was just like, we can agree on the fact that we dislike the Eagles. But why does he need to know that? Why do I need to know that? Why do you need to know that? The thing is there is gunshots, there is robberies, there is crime, there is murder, there is accidental deaths, there is wildfires, there's tornadoes, hurricanes. There are catastrophes every single day. And the reality is, yes, we have this diluted sense of what the news is. We think the news is all informative. Well, actually, none of us think that anymore. But some people still believe it should be. And it's not. It's unrealistic. How could any person, any network, any company, that's what the news is. The news station is a company. It is a business. It is an entity that only has so many employees and so many resources. Even though you can believe whatever conspiracy theories you want about how it's they got the deepest pockets and they're being bought off. It doesn't matter. They still have only so much access to everything. Even the Pentagon only has so much access to everything. You can't keep up with every single thing that is happening every single minute and every single day all over this country. But when something happens and it's tragic, people rush to social media and they're like, why is this not national news? They just don't want us to know. Why should it be national news? Was it reported in your city? Did it happen in your city? Okay, let's a death recently in Florida. There was a death recently in Florida, and it was a grandmother who had left her child unattended, and the child died. It's tragic. It's horrible. It's like something none of us want to think about. But it was on the news in Florida. Now, I'm in Wyoming, but I have friends here in Wyoming that are travelers that are from Florida, and their family is still back home, and they are here literally temporarily on travel contracts. So they keep up-to-date news from Florida on their phone via their apps because they care about what's going on at home. Wyoming is not home to them. So why did people rush to Facebook and X and Instagram and whatever, Threads, and say, why is this not national news? Everybody in the country needs to know that this lady left her child unattended. Do you know how many children die because of parental neglect or parental abuse or mistreatment or whatever? Like, it's a tragedy and it's terrible. And I honestly do not want to know the statistics, but I'm telling you, I haven't heard about them all. Like, regardless of how many or how few there are, that I'm not aware of every death of a child. Nor do I need to be. If I spend all my time being informed about all the deaths and murders, I would never be informed about anything else. Like, what is wrong with people that we gravitate towards social media only so we can vent, whine, and complain about everything that they're hiding from us and they're not telling us? Do you live in Colorado? Do you really need to know about the death of this child in Florida? Do you? Really? I mean, that's where we are. And there was a big wildfire that happened actually in the South, and it was weird because I was a couple months ago, and it was this weird thing. I don't remember all the details. But it wasn't common. I think it was in... It doesn't matter. I'm not going to quote it wrong. It doesn't matter. There was a natural disaster. It happened in the South. It wasn't common. And so it kind of made the news, and it kind of hit social media, and it kind of spread a little bit because it was an uncommon thing. And then some people quickly were like, oh, I saw people commenting on it that were saying, did you know they just got done having wildfires in Wyoming like 2 months ago? And I'm like, why is the Wyoming wildfires not on the news? It is on the news in Wyoming, where I live. It was on the news every day for like a couple weeks. It was on the news every day. They were keeping us updated. We knew what was going on. We're here. We're here, and we knew what was going on. We were fully aware, and the crazy thing is, and this is going to shock some of you, it's not uncommon in Wyoming. This is something we actually deal with every single year. Every single year there's wildfires because Wyoming goes through periods of droughts and periods of precipitation. You know, we get rain and snow. We get snow for like 5 months. And then after that, everything's wet, everything's growing, everything's thriving. You see all this growth in the forests, in the mountains, in the hills. But then all the precipitation just dries up. Everything dries up and it just stays dry for a couple of months. And fires start. It happens. Sometimes it's like they don't even know. They're like, oh man, where did that fire just come from? Sometimes it's a random spark of lightning. There's lots of different things that could have caused it, but it literally happens every single year in Wyoming. This is not new, and we do not need it on the national news. I mean, if you put it on the national news, whatever, who cares? But nobody's going to rush from other states to be like, hey, can we help you? Can we check on it? It happens every year, and Wyoming people handle it every single time. Happens every year. They're not worried about it. Similar thing happens in Oregon, and I'm not going to break down the whole story of that, but it happens. This is not uncommon crap. Like, it's normal things. These things happen, and catastrophes happen, like tragedies happen, deaths, murders. Like, natural disasters, all these things happen and they don't need to be on the news every single time. Now, it doesn't mean that any one of them is more important or less important than another, because you know what? Of course they're important. That's somebody's land. That's somebody's house. Somebody's property. Somebody's family. That's a family member that died. That's a person. So of course it's important. But like I said, it's like one person dies every like couple of seconds and another person is born every couple of seconds. It's like, it's a cycle. That's not new. It's not new. We're not strangers to this, everybody. Like, we're not. So if we're not strangers and this happens and we're used to it and we know this is going to happen, then why? Because of because the convenience of social media, we use it as a box for us to shout from. I mean, that's what we do. We use it to complain, to gripe, to bicker. Why? Like, why? Why is that what we do with social media? Why do we just continue to complain? You know what they didn't tell us? You know what they're hiding from us? Man, they ain't hiding nothing from you. This is just life, man. This just happens. Yeah, of course, there are stories out there that are absolutely covered up and hidden. But the majority of stories just aren't relevant to you, so why do you need to know? And if you really want to find out, guess what? Find out, because it's easy. You don't need the news to tell you. Get online, check out. You're interested in, natural disasters? How many tornadoes have we had yesterday? How many hurricanes did we have? How many deaths in the last 48 hours in the country? Anything. Like, you can look up anything now. Like, everything is there, and there's so much information right at the tip of your fingers. And yes, some of it will not be up to date. Some of it will not be accurate. It's a flawed system. But it's a better system than we've ever had. Like, seriously, like, all you youngsters who think this is so terrible and tragic, it's like, the system we have now is better than we've ever had. Better than we've ever had. Now, there's this paradox of affluence, man. The more information you have at the tip of your fingers, the more false information you're going to have at the tip of your fingers. And that's something people don't like to talk about, and they don't like to be aware of it, but it's a real thing. The reason you have so much access to information right now is because anybody and everybody can post information. And because the fact that anybody and everybody can post information now, right at the tip of your fingers, right on your little smartphone, you get a lot of people who post false stuff. Because you can't fact check everybody and everything. You can't do all that. So there's going to be lies out there. There's going to be secrets. There's going to be things that they hide. But you know what? It's always been that way too. They just didn't talk about it because you didn't know about it, because there was only one news station for like the entire country. We're so far past where it once was. We don't have 3 channels anymore. Now we have 10 news channels. Just news. Just news. There used to be 3 channels that were only on your television, 3. Now there are 10 that just do news. Now you can sit here and be gripey and complaining and negative and be like, yeah, but they're all bought and they're all paid for and they're all whatever. You know what? At the end of the day, you know what a news station is? It is a business. And its job is to get paid. Its job is to get ratings. Its job is, unfortunately, not integrity. Not integrity. Its job isn't integrity. Now, there are some journalists that still live by the idea of integrity, and they still, fact check everything, and they follow leads and find information and expose truth. And most of them are looking for sound bites, man. What thing happened today? What disaster happened? What feel-good story can tidy up and put a little bow at the end of the segment today? Like, that's it. It's about ratings. It's about keeping you from turning into another channel. Everything's not going to be out there. There's too much to put out everything. Be thankful for what you got. And next time you're frustrated that, hey, this isn't national news, if you know about it, it's already big enough. I mean, seriously, if you know about it enough that you can take the time to complain about it, obviously information has spread far enough. And if you'd like to spread it further, but spread it further without just griping and complaining the whole time that everybody else failed. Because while you're griping and complaining, you're failing. Ooh, let that one marinate. Do better. Just do better. It's time. It's really time. It's time that we just stop pointing a finger and being mad at everybody and just do better. If it's not on the news, did you really need to know? And do you really need to rely on that one news source to bring you all your information? If you don't like this information, find your information somewhere else. Man, just share this video with someone. Share it with a friend, coworker, a cousin, someone. Share it. It's your boy. Y'all stay tuned and I'm out.